Hi guys, Tony here from the Heritage Line. Right then, again, this is a video I wasn't intending in producing. As you can tell from the title, it's about accessory decoders. Now the video I was going to show is I have a Lens LS150 here. It's the lens version of the accessory decoder. This is the one I was going to use. I was going to show you how to wire that up and use it with the Z21 and my current plans for it. Then I got to thinking, accessory decoders. It's a bit of a minefield. What are accessory decoders? Which ones do you need? Where do you start? Do I need this item? Do I need that item? Now, I'm no expert at this. I'm like you, I'm going through the motions, I'm looking at all these different accessory decoders. Which ones do I need? Which ones can I use? They've all got different properties, they've all got different things they can do. So this is just a basic guide of what is out there, what you could be looking at. And to be honest guys, if it's the one for you, the best thing to do is you go on the website, look up the code, read through the instructions. Think to yourself, is this what I need it to do? So I've basically made a video on accessory decoders. I've broken it down for you. So as you know, traditionally point motor control, but they can be used for other things, and it's very much a minefield. You've got ones that have got connected to networks, you've got ones that are standalone, and then there's one or two out there that are just little gimmicks that you can control. But there's a lot of things you need to take into account. So hopefully this video will help you guys. I'm going to take you on the journey. One or two interesting things I found as well which I didn't know about. And it might give you a few ideas for those of you that are into DCC. So here you go. Here's the video. Hope you enjoy it. And we'll catch you on the flip side guys. Hopefully the next video will be about this and the Z21. See you in a bit. So, what is an accessory decoder? It's a decoder to control stationary features using DCC. For example, points, signals, animation, lights and sound. Things to consider when choosing one. Now this is quite interesting. First of all, what will you be using it for? Do I need feedback? Well, feedback, to be honest, is more when you're using automation, but again it needs to be looked at. Does it need to be the same system I use? Well, that is up to you. Again, are you doing automation? What network are you on? And this will be covered a bit later. How is it powered? Good question. Are you powering it off your DCC? Are you powering it off a separate transformer? These are all things that need to be considered. How many devices am I using? Quite simply, how many point motors do you want to control? How many signals are you controlling? How many animations do you have out there that you want to control? Lights for your buildings? All needs to be considered. What will I be using one for? So we'll look at the points first. So, are the solenoid points motors you're controlling? The slow action ones like your cobalts or your tortoises? Or are the servos? Servos is a new up and coming thing. So that's another thing you need to consider. So here are some examples of accessory decoders. These are for the solenoid decoders. We've got the DG tracks. We've got the DCC concepts. We've got the Gauge Master, NCE. There are lots and lots of manufacturers out there to actually choose from. We've got the Roco Z21 system. So example of accessory decoders, these are for the slow action ones. These are the DCC concept system. Again, you could actually use them probably for your tortoise. The Digitracks, again, and simply the reason is you can actually program the stall period. Of course, you've got dedicated ones like the NCE. Now then, servos. Again, you can control your servo point motors. Here's an example. We've got several here, the decoders, the ESU, the Train Tech. Again, it's a little known company, but again you can use that, Ugonna and Brock, and there are plenty more manufacturers out there, so it's well worth doing your homework. So we've got signals. Signals, they can be lighted or they can be semaphore. So here we go, here's a few of the lit signal decoders. We've got again the Z21 Roku one. There's two types there that you can actually choose from, because the switch decoder will also do the same. Train Tech again, there's their signal controller. Now then, if you're going to use the servo ones, you can obviously use a servo decoder, but again the Train Tech system will actually include the bounce as well. Now then, animation. This is always the fun part, guys. Is your animation servo driven? Is it switch operated? What type of switch is it? Is it just one of those that you just press and it activates it? That's your momentary. Or is it one you actually physically turn over and that's called the latched one? So you press it forward for on, it stays in that position, you pull it back, it turns it off. That's your latch switch. Now, servo decoders could be used for several sort of animations. There's lots of things like your crossing gates. You could, for example, use crossing gates. I don't know. The world is your oyster. You could even use it for opening your engine shed doors. But that would be an example of your servo animation. Now then, you can also use lighting accessory decoders. So for your lighting, again, do you just use a momentary switch? Is it latched? Does your lighting have special effects? Is it flickering? It could be just a flickering bulb in a building, it could be a fluorescent tube, or it could be something like your arc welding simulator, or it could be flashing like, I don't know, flashing lights on a police car or on a fire engine. That's one option there. Now then, I'm going to include this is overhead layout lighting. Yes, you can control your lighting from overhead. Now this is based on the LED strip, so we'll have a look at that as well. So some solenoid decoders, they can be used for switching your animations. Now you can actually add a relay onto these solenoids, so in effect you can actually make it into a pulsed switch, which will be your momentary. You just press a button and job's done. Or you could use a latching relay. I have showed latching relays before on my point motor video, so yes, you could actually use a latching relay, and this will do just the same as well, and this will turn your lights on. But these are dedicated lighting decoders here. I don't know how they work, guys. Again, you'll have to look up the instructions on the internet, but there's various options out there, various little effects that they do. Train Tech do a lot of these special effects like decoders, and they do them. Here's an example here of a police car with the flashing light. It can all be controlled off your DCC. Now then, this is a very, very special decoder. This is what I found. This is one that can control your overhead lighting. It uses two light strips. It uses the white light strip and it uses an RGB light strip. Now an RGB light strip, in effect you could create any colour you want from an RGB light strip. This can be programmed through your PC onto your accessory decoder, and essentially you can actually make this decoder timed, and it can go from night to day, day to night. Now if you have a lot of buildings lit up, you have your street lights on and you love to see your layout in the dark, this is a very, very nice little option. It's automated, so it's a great little system. It's not cheap, but to be honest, modern railway stuff isn't generally cheap anyway. But this is an option, and again, this can be extended with more modules, more lighting strips. So it's something different, but it is out there. Now this is something I never really considered. You could actually use the accessory decoders to actually do sound. Again, now then, is your sound operated through a momentary switch where you just press it and it'll make a sound. In effect, you could actually maybe use, let's have a think, you could use an opto system where when your train runs over a set part in your track, it activates. Again, an opto system is a form of a switch. You got your momentary, you got your latch switches, so you know there's lots of things out there. Now Gauge Master, they actually offer a range of different controlled DCC sound modules. You can get your farm animals, you can get your countryside sounds, you can get your busy city street sounds. And yes, these modules will play by themselves if you wanted. You can also access each individual sound from your DCC. So if you wanted a particular sound when your cow went moo, you just put the code in on your DCC, press the button, bang, you'll get your moo sound. These are made by Train Tech for the Gauge Master range. Now Train Master also do a recordable sound recorder. So you could actually go out there, you could actually record your own sound, and you could actually play it back on your DCC. Again, I don't know how many it does, I think it does up to 4 sounds, but it's very customizable. So they have a look at an image of the Gauge Master one, which is that's what they look like. It's a little speaker built in, and of course we've got the Train Tech sound recorder module as well for you to look at. So feedback, here we go. This is really for your automating a layout. What it'll do is when it senses that the point has changed, it will send the data to your software on your PC, and it'll change on the PC. Now, as you know, we've got several networks on the DCC. You've got your LocoNet, you've got your S88, you've got your Arbus, your ExpressNet, and there's a few more out there like, oh, the world's the oyster. It's a bit confusing, to be honest. But if you're looking at automating your layout, have a look, see what your DCC system operates on its net. And if you think this is going to be beneficial for you, you're going full hog automation, then look for an accessory decoder that supports that network. Now, I'm sorry guys, there's no easy way to do this, but you just need to go through, find the instructions for that accessory decoder and have a read. Don't just go out and buy one and say that's going to do the job. Do your research first, guys. It's well worth it. These things aren't cheap. When you invest in these, it's going to be so much more beneficial when you know or have an idea what it does. Obviously, a lot of the time you've got to have a play with these things, but at least this will give you an idea if it's the one for you. Now, the mixing brands. If you don't need your feedback, yes, you can mix your brands. It's that simple. You could have a Gauge Master accessory decoder on there. You could have a lens decoder on there. You could have whatever you wanted. Because what you're doing is when you program these things up, you teach it what code it is going to actually need to operate. So essentially you're just sending you different codes, the right accessory decoder say, oh, it's me, it's my turn, bang, it'll operate. Simple as that. So you can mix them up. It's only the automation side that you need to look at the protocols. And to be honest, the feedback really is just for your point motors. It could be used for your signals, I suppose, but I don't really know much about this, guys. I've not gone that heavy into it. So I'm just sort of showing you various options out there. Now then, this is a very important thing. How is it powered? Is it powered by a separate transformer, DC or AC? Or is it off your layout bus? Now then, I prefer to save my layout power bus to power my trains. I might use it for a tiny bit of lighting, for usually indication on my main layout, but I don't go full hog. Because what you've got to remember is, you're putting so many amps out on your DCC bus, you start adding all these accessory decoders, they're all taking power, and if you're not careful, you'll get to the point where your layout just will not operate properly. You'll get some weird effects going on. You get things like your trains are run, your accessory decoders won't work, or lights won't come on, or a sound won't play on your loco, and you may need to consider adding a booster to your bus in order to get more power to it. I will use a separate power supply every time, but yes, you do need to think, how much power is this drawing? Will it affect my system? How many can I use? Do I need to upgrade the power on my system? It's all things that need to be considered. I remember an instance where I knew a modeller who was taking all of his lighting power off his DCC system, and it got to the point he added that many lights, it wouldn't work properly, and he didn't know what was going on. As soon as he took his lights off the DCC bus, fed a separate power supply to him, it worked perfect. It does happen, guys. These are things you need to consider. So, what is your control method? Is it simply inputting the numbers on your handset? Or is it using a graphic user interface? And what I mean by that is it a display? Is it on your laptop and you've got a nice little track plan on your laptop? On the Z21 you can have a nice little layout design on your handset, and you just put your finger on the point changes. These are so much easier if you've got a GUI. Or do you still want to be able to use a typical analog control panel as well? A lot of us like to be hands-on, and some of us might want the option. We might want to be able to control it on a panel, or control it off your phone, off your tablet, off your handset. The world's your oyster. But if you want a control panel, you've got to think, how am I going to actually incorporate a control panel into this? So, the most popular system I've seen for having a mimic control panel is the DCC Concepts Alpha series. It's quite a big selection of items. They're not cheap, but they do the job and they look smart. You will have a professional looking control panel with all your lights, your switches, but it's still controlled by DCC. Or, quite simply, build your own. There are means and ways of actually having an analog control panel and still using your DCC system. So here's a picture of the DCC Concepts Alpha series. As you can see, it has what it calls a sniffer bus. That's what actually sends the signals from the switches, and it'll actually show you on the bigger boards what number has actually been sent to it. It will indicate the lights, it will still change all your motors, and you know, there's lots and lots of other things it can actually do, this Alpha series, but you can do your own. So how many outputs do I need? Well, this is a very good question. How many items do you want to control off your accessory? Now the decoders usually come in 1, 2s, 4, 6, 8s, can be in 16s as well. So if you've got 36 points, then you think to yourself, well, how many outputs do I need? Well, I would go for, if you're going at an 8 one, how many 8s go into 36? You might have a couple spare, that's alright, because you can daisy chain these together. And the world's your oyster. You can have as many accessory decoders as you want. Just make sure you are putting the right power to your units. That's the only thing, guys. So make sure that these things are powered correctly, and you can have as many as you want. It's that simple. Right, this is very important. Before buying an accessory decoder, do your research. Look at the different brands, decide what you are actually wanting it for. Read the instructions, don't go full hog into just buying loads of these things. Me, myself, what I would actually do is, I'd say, right, what am I powering? Oh, it's going to be for points, so I'm looking for a good accessory decoder that will power points. What am I using? What type of point motor? Right, I'm going to use a solenoid point motor. Can I do other things with it? So first thing I will do is read the instructions and look for the right decoder for you. Now remember, guys, you can search for these terms, I've just shown you there, but remember there's lots of videos on YouTube that can be found, so you can just search it on YouTube. There'll be somebody on there that'll show you what they've done, how they've installed it. There's plenty out there. You just got to do your research, guys. It's well worth looking into. So like I said, guys, I am no expert at this, so I hope this helps you anyway, guys, and gives you a few more options out there, and we'll catch you later. Bye for now.